Hey folks, welcome to Seattle Public Utilities Ask Evelyn Live, where we answer your questions about recycling, compost garbage, and other trashy topics. I'm your host, Becca Fong. This week, secondhand shopping for a first-rate wardrobe. This month, we are focusing on sustainable consumption, and this week is all about popping tags at the thrift store so you can be a little lighter on the environment and on your wallet. So we are super fortunate. Pat is back from vacation, and he's going to be joining us here in just a minute. So let me get him logged on real quick. All right, folks, I have a little bit of like IG Live admin here. Hi, Pat.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Apparently, my Instagram update has made things a little bit kooky, but we are so glad to have you back. How was vacation?
Oh, vacation was fine. It was wonderful. I loved watching the show. Thanks for carrying on. That was awesome.
Yeah, we had some good guests, but we missed you, Pat, for sure.
Good to be back.
So this week we've got a really good question. It's all about sustainable consumption this month and a topic that is near and dear to both of our hearts, which is donating and being part of kind of the secondhand cycle for clothing and items.
Right.
So we got a really good question this week. Do you want to kick us off with that?
You bet. Our question comes from Jake this week. Jake says, I finally gotten to cleaning out my closet and have lots of clothes that are in good shape to donate. I want to know what I should do with the clothes that have holes and are really worn. Is there a way to recycle them? Jake goes on to say, after going through my closet, I realized that I am now in need of some new clothes. Pre-pandemic, I was an avid thrift shopper, but I'm not quite ready to go back in the store. Are there other options for buying quality used clothes? Thanks, Jake. Quick answer, Becca. What do you think?
So quick answer, Jake, thanks for donating stuff that's good to be resold. Yeah. But yes, anything that's worn, stained, ripped, torn, mismatched, you got one sock, you can take that to one of our local thrift stores that is a partner with the ThreadCycle program. And we'll put a link in that in the show notes. But most of the thrift stores you're thinking about, Goodwill, Value Village, St. Vincent de Paul, they are all participants in the ThreadCycle program, and they will recycle that fiber. So that's definitely one thing. And then luckily, there are lots of online options for buying things secondhand. And in the last year, that whole scene has just blown up incredibly. So, but let's take a minute and we'll get into the details. All right, Pat, ThreadCycle.
ThreadCycle is this great program. It's a King County, Seattle partnership. It's a regional program.
Right.
And it's really sort of the clearinghouse for all the thrift and, second life options for clothes, shoes, belts, purses, bags. ThreadCycle is really a great program it's a great webpage just to go to figure out, okay, what are my options?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that a lot of that material can get recycled. I mean, things I never really thought about either, like jackets, like technical clothes, shoes. They'll take throw pillows, not house pillows, but throw pillows, belts. They'll take all kinds of different things, which is really pretty amazing. So,
and just to be sure, just so I didn't misrepresent, it's not a store or something. It's a program page. ThreadCycle is a program where all the agencies and stores can kind of combine into one message to the public saying, hey, all of these types of goods are totally reusable. Take them to your local thrift store. All the thrift stores, or at least most of them, are participants in ThreadCycle.
Absolutely. And you don't have to sort the material. I used to, even though I'm part of SBU and I talked to our colleague who runs that program with King County, I was like, do I need to separate stuff for ThreadCycle? And they said, no, you just put it all in. They sort it as the donations come in. So it's all good. So you can put your ripped jeans in with your good jeans, Jake, and it's just fine. They'll sort that out. So
figure it out.
Totally.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome going to like the Goodwill inbound processing station down there on Dearborn, where they have staff members who are trained, and they, there's one person just assigned to denim, and they can grade the denim. Some of it will go onto their online store, right? They have an online shopping area, do they not, for Goodwill? And
totally.
And then they'll rag out things and some things like that. So yeah.
Totally. So we did have a question in the chat about what if things are moldy. So they can be stained, but they need to be dry. Right. They can't be moldy or wet or mildewed, because that's just gross. So, and that will impact the other fabrics. So very similarly, we talk about that with compost and like how, food will, or sorry, not in compost, in recycling, if there's food contaminants, it'll spread to other paper products. if your clothing is moldy or mildewed or wet, that will contaminate the other fabric. So
yeah, just give it a quick rinse and hang it out to dry. You know, once
yeah,
you can get it cleaned up, it doesn't have to be spotless. Like you don't have to launder all your. Although it's great. It's great if y'all would if you make sure things are fairly clean. But I mean, if it's it's been worn and you're ready to donate it, that's fine. Just as we
totally.
know, thrift stores, that's the nature of it. You want to wash those things when you get them home.
Totally. And one thing that I wanted to bring up, because, this is so near and dear to both my heart and I know yours, Pat, is that, Jay, good on you for buying things secondhand, because that is like huge, huge bonus points for lightening your environmental impact. There's so much impact on the planet when you buy new clothes, right? It's from all of the inputs, the water, the nutrients, the soil that goes to grow the fiber, to the manufacturing of the fabrics, to the sewing of the fabrics that lots and lots of people do, and then the transportation and the selling. When you buy secondhand, you just skip over all those costs. Like those are
I
just
mean, think about that loop of all the the mining and the resource extraction of all these materials, the pesticides and herbicides might be used in the cotton or otherwise, the fibers and such. It's a lot if you need a pair of jeans, to go get a pair of jeans that already exists, that didn't have to be made for you. So it has terrific environmental footprint benefits. And the industry of clothes, if you want to talk about that for a moment, about that concept of some clothes are better than others. Kind of reminds me of that one website, the Buy Me Once, kind of thing, where if you do need a jacket, well, maybe get a good one if you can, one that's going to last you a while. That's another good thing to think about when buying clothes, because clothes, like anything, is you don't want it to be, certainly not single use, but in the world of clothes, with fashion and the changing out of this season's colors and things like that, it's really, sometimes certain clothes can be fairly short-lived, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, the terms fast fashion, very similar to fast food. They're things that are supposed to be kind of like a quick flash. And so we talk a lot about both fast fashion as far as for the fashion and textile industries, but this whole concept of also slow clothes, kind of like slow food, things that are kind of made locally. They're made with very intentional and sustainable materials. I think that's another thing. I think buying secondhand is a huge way to feed into the slow clothes movement. And really quickly, before we move on into this too much, Jake, I want to make sure that you knew there are so many online options to partake in kind of this slow clothes movement, to buy things that are already been manufactured. So there's some really big brands that are doing this. So REI is doing that on their website. Patagonia has always been a really good supporter of that, has been doing that for years. Eileen Fisher as well. But there's also a ton of, buying online in lots of different ways. And it's really funny. We talk about, Pat, you and I, we love a thrift store, right? Like, man, we could spend so much time there. And the concept of thrifting, I think, is becoming more mainstream. A lot of you guys will have heard the term consignment. And to me, they're the same thing, right? You bring those things to a store, they hold on to them. You get a little bit of that money back if you don't want to straight up donate them. So that's super helpful as well. I have done consignment and it's fantastic. It's a great way. I do that for my kids because we have a really good consignment store for kids stuff in West Seattle. And, other people are getting great stuff that my kids have worn that honestly were like tried and tested. They survived 2 children and can still be used. And then I get good stuff too. Yeah. So there's lots of options.
There are the stores with children's wear and children's toys and such too. And then there's the Buffalo Exchange or the other stores like that, Crossroads and stuff, where you can go in and, like, if you have 3 or 4 pair of jeans that maybe don't fit you anymore, but they have value, you don't need to donate them. You can get a few bucks for these things and get store credit, and then go find something that works for you.
Totally. And I'm sure that everybody's pants fit just perfectly like they did before 2 years ago.
Of course.
Like, everybody's looking real svelte. Everything's fitting great. So, but if you do have a couple pair that don't fit anymore, absolutely.
Right.
And even our big thrift stores like Goodwill is in on it. They sell on eBay, Mercari. You can get some really good stuff there. And, it's also kind of a good way not to, buy extra stuff that you don't need, even at a thrift store. Because, I've certainly fallen prey to that. I'm at the thrift store. I'm like, ooh, what about that? I could use that.
Yeah. Nice.
So the online shopping kind of helps curb that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Some other things too that we've talked about the show, buy nothing groups, right?
Right. There's definitely places, online exchanges, whether it's, Facebook groups, Craigslist. There's other platforms one can go to look for clothing, and sometimes it's gear. I mean, I know you recently did the show with Vivian on the recreational gear and stuff. But it's also really cool. I wanted to mention that, like, where REI and Patagonia and stores like that or companies like that make clothing are offering their used gear and used clothing options. But they're also shifting into more organic and sustainably sourced fabrics and materials and stuff. So, if you're going to shop new or used, trying to find those products that are sustainably sourced is also a positive step for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jake, we kind of threw a lot of information out to you, but definitely as a quick recap, all of your, torn, ripped, mismatched stuff, take that to your local thrift store. You can put it in with those pants that you have that are still good to donate, and they will sort them through our ThreadCycle program. The stuff that can't be resold will get recycled, which is fantastic. And then we'll have links to all of that stuff. Make sure to shop your local thrift. I know, Jake, you're not feeling it right now, and I totally get that, but lots of online options, which definitely supports all the great programs that a lot of our local thrift stores are supporting, like Goodwill. So we hope that this was some good, useful information. And please, y'all, keep shopping. Keep thrifting, buy it secondhand. It's all about
keep popping those tags.
Heck yeah. I know that in particular, I have bought this sweater and this lovely blouse. I got these both at the Fury and Goodwill.
Let's see, that looks good. Yeah, I have a nice shirt here, a little outdoorsy shirt that I got a while back, so it's one of my faves. So yeah,
I know.
Definitely. I mean, one wouldn't know. We look great, I think. So
we do look fantastic. You would never know unless we told you that. And I proudly display and share where I bought my lovely things.
Nice.
So there's a lot of pride in this town about thrifting and popping tags, and that's the way you get your unique style. So that's another bonus. You look super tight, really fresh, save some money, and you're living lighter on the environment. So
that's right.
Win. Exactly. So, all right, folks, thank you guys so much. Jake, thank you for your question. You guys out there, keep those coming. We love hearing from you. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can send us an email at askevelyn@seattle.gov. And Pat, so good to have you back.
Hey, do that.
All right. Well, folks, we will see you next week, Wednesday at 1:30. And with that, I'm Becca. And remember, life's simpler, less stuff.
I'm Pat. Remember to recycle right. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.